Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus, Pimp Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast. I don't even know what to call these videos yet, but it's probably just gonna be like random rants, random running off at the mouth, whatever, what have you. We'll figure it out when we get there. And I know y'all are probably like, this girl be all over the place, be coming and going. One minute she here, 1 minute she not. Okay, your feelings are valid, but listen, Linda, listen. I am a multi-hyphenate artist. I am also gifted, and I have ADHD. So please, I appreciate your patience. And also, I encourage you to enjoy the ride, honey. Just enjoy the ride. Wherever I take you, honey, we're going to get there alive. We're going to survive and thrive. And it's all going to be all right. Yes, God. Now, I ain't gonna waste no more time. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the specificities of this video. But nah, thank y'all for real, because I know this algorithm is a mug. And I know there is people out there that really support me and want to see me and want me to be more consistent and all of this stuff. So y'all, I'm doing what I need to do to be right for me so I can be right for you. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. But nah, like I said, wasting no more time, gonna go ahead and get right into it. I thank y'all. Appreciate your patience and the exchange of vibes. Boom. TikTok. Nah. Okay, let me stop. Anyway, bars. Okay, for real. I'm gonna get into it. So today, briefly, and simply stated, straight to the point, I want to just talk a little bit about something that I don't hear mentioned often when it comes to GTA San Andreas. Y'all may not know, but I love me some GTA all the way, straight up and down, all the way around. You know what I'm talking about? Bars. And one of my favorite installments, of course, is many people's favorite installments, is GTA San Andreas. So what I want to talk about specifically as it comes to this game and the storylines and some of the characters and all is family. That's my attempt at Vin Diesel's voice when he say family in in Fast and Furious. But yes, so this family's aspect today, and as you can see, I wanted to give him credit. Shout out to the professional. I am a subscriber of his. I love his channel. I love his videos. I love the way he break down stuff. I love the attention to detail and all of the energy and passion and joy that he puts into not only his content, but also that he puts into his subscribers, his following, and all of that. Like, you can tell that he really considers his audience, and he gets joy from the joy and all that he's able to bring from his audience. And I could tell that this is something that he's also passionate about. So, you know, it's a mutually benefiting thing for him. And I just love that energy radiating off of him. So yeah, shout out to the professional. As I also I was triggered to this thought from his video, not necessarily from any of his talking points, but just something I was noticing about the storylines and the characters as I was watching his video. And because I needed a quick picture and I was already on his video, I just went ahead and snapped some shots, and I didn't want to, you know, be trifling and not give my boy his shout out. You feel me? So yeah, shout out to the professional. And, you know, if you into gameplays, if you into GTA, but also like Red Dead Redemption, Saints Row games and stuff like that, he does a plethora of different games. But the main pieces I see him do, like his most popular pieces that I see him do, are often these types of games: the adventure, crime saga, GTA, Saints Row, true crimes, driver type games, you know. So yeah, as you can see, I was watching his video that he posted a couple of days ago, about the top 5 hidden early signs that Ryder was going to betray CJ. He also had some videos about signs that Big Smoke was going to betray him, and also talking about the reasons why he may have betrayed them, and this, that, and the third. It's tons of videos on every game that he has done, and he really gets all up in there. So yeah, this led me to my thought about another reason I feel like Big Smoke and Ryder betray CJ and Sweet specifically, outside of the money, power, drugs, all that. So, as we know, and if you don't know, here we go. Sweet, Ryder, Big Smoke, CJ are all childhood friends. They all grew up on that street right there together. And you can also include Brian and Kendall in it, if you will. You take it way back, you know. So, something I noticed, though, is that Sweet and CJ... Okay, so let me put it like this. We know it's quite common, because I don't want to sound ignorant, okay? But we know that it is quite common for people to come from single mother households. In this particular era, coming off the backs of the crack era, gonna be paralleling real life and the timeline of the game, okay? So bear with me, because I'm also not I'm not trying to have this video be that long, so I'm trying to be very simply stated and to the point, and also not come off like an ignorant asshole at the same time. So again, enjoy the ride and bear with me. Because I don't want to end up straight up just saying, oh, you know, most people from this area come from single mom households. Like, that can come off a certain way. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm saying that as a commonly known and or commonly thought of fact. If I'm not mistaken, the statistics show, you know, even especially like during this time period, the parental structure and presence was highly lacking, because of how rampant the drugs were, as well as the HIV/AIDS epidemic that was also going on in this era. And so, with that said, don't get stuck. Like I said, I'm gonna be going back and forth between the timelines of the game and real life. We know in the game, this is set in 92, 93, so it's set in the early 90s. But it's played out as the crack era, which actually started in the 80s, and more of the pitfalls showed in the early 90s. So I'm going to refer to this as an era more so than the specific year dates and times, you know. So just keep that in mind as I speak. So now that we got all the disclaimers and shit out the way, we know that this is an area and a time where a lot of these parents are, a lot of these people are orphans one way or another. They either come from single parent households, or they are orphans having been raised by their grandparents or uncles and aunts, or gangs, or not having been raised by anybody, or having been raised by the penal system one way or another. So in this story, which also has a lot of paralleling storylines and arcs as a lot of John Singleton movies, who I can't remember, did John Singleton work on this script? I know DJ Pooh did. I'm not sure if John Singleton was directly involved with the script and the storylines and such, but a lot of the people that are actors in this game, and like DJ Pooh that worked on the script, are affiliates of John Singleton, have worked with him, and or they have worked with people who have worked with him. So, like it's all kind of the same circle. And either way, there are a lot of John Singleton inspirations taken from movies and stories that he's told from growing up in this real life area of impoverished California, LA, Compton, Watts, all of that. I can't remember which city or town, area, county, if you will, that John Singleton is from, but you know how New York has its boroughs? California doesn't have boroughs. These are different, cities and towns within cities and such. But for lack of better terms, I'm referring to them as like boroughs that we often refer to when we talk about like this area of California that was heavily affected by this era. And it's also pinpointing that that's not the only area of California that exists like a lot of people think. So that's also why I'm emphasizing certain things. So yeah, I brought up the John Singleton reference to refer to the parallels between the characters of Sweet and CJ in relation to Trey and, you could say, Doughboy on Boys in the Hood. Now on Boys in the Hood, Trey and Doughboy refer to each other as brothers. There is a conspiracy theory that they may be half brothers, that Furious could be also Doughboy's son, but that like hasn't been confirmed or anything. But yeah, so of course in San Andreas, Sweet and CJ are blood brothers, and they're also a part of the gang Orange Grove Street Mafia. Families. Families. You see, I'm merging language of real life happenings and the game. It's very easy to do. Which, shows how well this was written and portrayed. But so yeah. So Orange Grove Street families, okay, they refer to each other as families and brothers, as relatives and such. Now CJ and Sweet very clearly are serious about that. Sweet is even more verbally serious about that. CJ, by the time we are playing as him in the game, he's more actively serious about that because he feels like he has something to prove, because he feels like he fell short of that concept in the past, and that resulted in their brother Brian being killed, as well as their mother having been killed. And also knowing that Sweet has a hit on his head and has had a hit on his head for a while, which has also played a part in their other family members having caught strays. Also, think about a line that Caesar says after you take out Ryder as CJ. CJ is having remorse about taking Ryder out, and Caesar says to him, yo, you know that you tried to F on your sister. He didn't use the N-word, but it say whatever. He's like, oh boy, he tried to F on your sister. Like, your real family, your real brother in spirit or whatever would not do something like that to you. He would have more respect for you and more respect for your sister than to do something like that to you. Now, I don't have to go through the multitude of things that Ryder and Smoke did to betray CJ and Sweet and their like actual blood family, but there are certain things that I will pinpoint that gives jealousy and envy that they had been harboring jealousy and envy towards CJ and Sweet for a long time, and not just CJ and Sweet, but their entire family unit. Hence why there have been targets on all of their backs. It's not enough just to go for CJ and Sweet. We gotta go for the people that y'all are blood tied to as well. It's not enough for us to be Orange Grove Street families if we can't be blood tied to you and be able to control you. We're not blood tied to you, so we want to be able to control you. We can't control you, you gotta go. Which is also how, that was trickling down from the police brutality and oppression that was going on amongst the racial disparities going on in society, the classes disparities going on in society, and all of that trickle down domino effect of, if I can't have you and control you, nobody can. You guys to go. Because that's how envy works. Specifically, that's how envy works. Envy says, you got something I want. I either can't figure out how to get it, or I don't feel like figuring out how to get it. I don't really want to have to go through all of that. So either you gonna give me what you got and you gonna let me control it, or I'm gonna just take you up out of here. You got to go, because you getting in the way of me being mediocre in peace. So no matter how much, and think about this, we didn't get all of this information and scenes and such in the actual game and in the scenes and whatnot, but through the things that they talk about and the character and relationship development that happens, that they were childhood friends to the point of being family. That Big Smoke and Ryder and them was able to go over to their house and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack with them, spend the night, all of that shit. Their mama definitely more than likely treated Smoke and Ryder just like they were her own children. So it goes to show you that in these types of situations, no matter how much love you show somebody, no matter how much you include them, no matter how much you have done everything, literally have ride and died, have lost people that you close to for the sake of trying to show them how much that they mean to you, if they are committed to hating themselves, and if they are committed to only seeing what they lack and what you have in comparison, it ain't going nowhere but straight to hell, and they are going to make sure of it. The only way to win this game is to get out of it, or it's gonna get to a point where it's either you or them, and you gonna have to get them before they get you. And unfortunately, in this situation, they had to lose several people that they cared about before they realized where they was truly at and who the biggest wolves in the woods truly was. Now look, that ain't negating the activity of Tenpenny and how diabolical and ruthless the shit that they was pulling, but also realize it's so many things that they wouldn't have been able to know about Sweet and CJ and their family and their whereabouts and their habits and all of that without having get into Big and Ryder, without having gotten to Smoke and Ryder. The only way for real that they would have been able to infiltrate their actual the actual Johnson family unit is through Smoke and Ryder. Why? Because inherently, and this is no tea, no shade, but and this is not to say also that people who are orphaned one way or another don't have a innate capacity to understand morals, values, loyalty, integrity, and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying they clearly did not have the innate ability, amongst the fact that you can infer that they were also orphaned, because you don't hear anything about their parents. I'm talking about smoking Ryder specifically. You don't hear anything about their parents or siblings or grandparents or anybody else being alive or around to represent them or ground them or be any type of example for them. All they have is CJ Sweet and what they were able to get from being friends with them, really, really close friends with them. So you compare that to the other characters, like Caesar, for instance. We at least get to meet his cousins by, you make us say, stereotypical assumption that a lot of his gang members were also blood relatives. Just because we know that that's how they tend to function. Like, everybody tends to stay together generations and generations in one house and shit. And that's not to say that they don't also have broken families or, orphanism and stuff like that. Not saying that at all. I'm just simply stating things that, can be used to infer other certain things. As it concerns, like, how I feel it's credible to infer that Smoke and Ryder had no family for real to speak for them or to represent them or ground them. Therefore, like I said, they're bottomless voids where CJ and Sweet and their family has shown them all this love and reverence and loyalty, and it's going nowhere. It's only just giving them tools to take their kindness for weakness, which is literally what they did. Whereas the multitude of times that you see and hear Big Smoke challenging Sweet's authority, and you often see and hear Ryder undermining CJ's capabilities and his position, doing things like this in front. And see, they feel comfortable to do this because they are functioning in the title of all of them being brothers. But in real life, you know good and well not to talk shit about one person's family in front of their family. You know good and well not to talk shit about one brother in front of the other, one sister in front of the other, the sister in front of the brother in front of the sister, the kids in front of the mama in front of the kids. You know damn well not to do that, because it's a thing of respect. Because not only could you fuck around and find out just how strong their unit is, but you can end up turning them against each other, which I believe was Smoke and Ryder's intent, to divide and conquer, because they were envious of that blood tie family unit. Everybody has blood relatives, but not everybody has a solid family unit the way that CJ and Sweet, the way that the Johnson family did. And we don't hear much about their father. We can assume that he was not in their life, but even despite that, they were a strong family unit. CJ and Sweet had their issues, they had their disputes, they often did not agree on a lot of shit, but at the end, the beginning, the middle of the day, they were bonded. No matter what happened, they was riding and dying for each other. Period. No matter how much shit they talk to each other, no matter how much somebody try to turn them against each other, they right there for each other, 10 toes down, standing on business, going ham, through the paint, through a glass darkly. And that's what's so crazy about envy. It's much more energetic than it is physical, because you ain't even gotta have a lot. Like, somehow they all came up on the same street. Now also peep this, if you notice, the Johnson's family house, besides maybe OG Loke's house, which I think is across the street, and there are some other things that could be inferred on that too, but I want to stay focused. But besides OG Loke's house across the street, that Johnson family house is the biggest house on that street. It has 2 stories. The other homes don't have 2 stories on that street or in that little cul-de-sac. And if they do, like, you're not able to see it. So that says something. That's very intentional. It's saying that CJ and Sweet, despite also having been, disenfranchised, They were more privileged in comparison to everybody else around them. Not only, just because of certain physicalities, but also because that energy of unity and solidarity that they had. That shit radiates wealth, and it radiates power, and it radiates respect. Everything that everybody around them is desperate for. And why aren't CJ and Sweet super desperate for money and power, respect? Because they already have it in an energetic and spiritual sense within themselves and within their blood family units, which makes them an anomaly of that area, which also made them targets for their brethren. So yeah, and I could go like even deeper on like the layers of that whole subject and how it ties into Black history and all of that good stuff. But just for now in this video, I just wanted to drop a couple of nuggets and bombs for y'all to take and run with, basically. And we can further discuss and elaborate in the comments. I also just kind of want to further briefly elaborate and kind of tie up a loose end as to why I brought that up about the dynamics and Boys in the Hood, because I was making the comparison of how people responded to Trey in Boys in the Hood based off the fact that his father was in his life, even though they were all in the hood and all struggling. There were certain things and jealousy and envy that was spewed in Trey's direction that had to do with him having a father in his life that was verbally and actively loving him for real and having true solidarity with him for real. There was also some envious energy that was spewed in both Doughboy and Ricky's direction as well. Because even though there's division between them based on how their mother responds to them based on who their fathers are, but also them being brothers, and again, no matter how much they fought, they were loyal to each other. They ride and died for each other. They had each other's backs. Of course, Doughboy was more capable of having Ricky's back than vice versa because Ricky was coddled a lot. But we know Ricky's heart. No matter how much they fought, no matter what, trash stuff they may have said to each other at times when they were in the heat of the moment, they still were real brothers, not just in blood, but also in spirit. And so them having that strong spiritual brotherly bond and being blood brothers and having other spiritual brothers that they're not blood to, but they have that spiritual energetic solidarity with each other like brothers. It's other people that don't like that because their family unit is non-existent, and even the village, the crowd, the gang that they are running with, they know that it's not solid. They know that everybody in there is alpha self. They know that if it come down to it, them folks would throw them straight up under the bus and back over them multiple times. And so they look at other people and they see them with these strong relationships. It ain't even just got to be romantic. It ain't got to be blood relation or none of that shit. Having a strong bond of solidarity with anybody that is unbreakable. There are a lot of people that do not like to see it because it reminds them of what they lack, and they can't figure out how to fill that void. And so they want to do anything and everything they can to destroy it, rip it apart, and just stack all the ruins on top of each other for them to make it their throne, their pedestal that they sit and stand on top of, laughing evilly at everyone else's demise, saying, ha ha ha, thought you was all that, didn't you? Look what you made me do. Which is the attempt that Officer Tenpenny had at the very end. And, you know, I think what Smoke felt like he was already doing, even though he had imprisoned himself into his own tower out of fear and shit, of now having a target on his back. Oh yeah, that clown came back to bite now, didn't it? But yes, at the very end, when Officer Tenpenny gets ran off of the highway, the bridge and all of that, he gets out and he's somewhat standing on top of the if I'm remembering this correctly, I can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I remember it is him getting out. And of course, the way he gets out of the fire truck, he's kind of standing on top of it, but the fire truck is turned over. So it's like, you think you so big. First of all, you can barely stand in the first place, but you think you so big because you're standing up on an incline that's really even not that high incline as it could be, because now it's turned over, and you just think you're doing something, don't you? Bless your heart. But in his mind and that delusion, he like, oh yeah, I did it. Look what you made me do. Oh yeah, you thought you was all that. Blah blah blah. But yeah, child, just a little niggas and bums I want to drop real quick. Y'all go ahead, run with it down to the comments, and we can discuss. With all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I've milked this cow dry. And I'm thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe, so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.